Hello viewers, this is Ronald, and in this video I'm going to take you through the solutions to O-level math for UNEB 2019, and particularly we are going to talk about questions 1 to 5. So these are the questions we are going to talk about in this tutorial. We shall see their solutions step by step and also how marks can be awarded. So question 1 says that solve the quadratic equation p squared minus 7p plus 12 being equal to 0, and they give it 4 marks. So we shall start by first quoting the equation, which is given 4p squared minus 7p plus 12 being equal to 0. Now next you have to look for factors whose sum is equal to negative 7 and product is equal to 12. Now that negative 7 is the coefficient of p, and this 12 is the product of the coefficient of p squared, which is 1, and the constant. So 1 times 12 will give you 12, which is the product. So we have to look for factors such that their sum is negative 7 and their product is 12. So what we do, with prime factorize 12. When I divide 12 by 2, I'll come up with 6. Divide 6 by 2, I'll come up with 3. Divide 3 by 2 by 3, I'll come up with 1. So at this line, the factors of 12 are 2 and 6. Then at this line, the factors of 12 are 4 and 3. Now this 4 is the product of this and this. So 2 times 2 is 4. That gives you the 4, and 3 is here. Then at this line, the factors of 12 are 12 and 1. Now that 12 comes from multiplying all these ones. So 2 times 3 will give you 12, and this one is here. All those factors, one pair of factors will have a sum of negative 7. You have to look for factors with a sum of negative 7. So if you look at, let's start with 12, 2 and 6. Now for 2 and 6, when I add 2 plus 6, I'll come up with 8, so that one is already off. Then when I come to 4 and 3, when I add 4 plus 3, I'll come up with 7. So that means that if I add negative 4 plus negative 3, I'll come up with negative 7. And also if I multiply negative 4 by negative 3, I'll come up with positive 12. What does that mean? It means that now our factors are negative 3 and negative 4. Now from that step, what we do, we replace negative 7p with negative 3p plus negative 4p, which is this negative 3p, negative 4p. So while there was negative 7p, we put there negative 3p minus minus 4p. Then I'll continue with our 12 and equal to 0. Now from there we have to pair. So I'll pair these two. When I pair these two, I realize that the common factor is p. So I've pulled p outside. When I pull p outside, what you put in brackets was got by dividing. So for this term, to get what is here, I'll say that p squared divided by what is outside, which is p. So p squared divided by p, I'll come up with p. So this is where the p is coming from. Then for this part, I will say negative 3p divided by p, I'll remain with negative 3, which is that. Then also do the same for this part, pair those two. When I pair those two, I realize that the common factor is negative 4. Now when I pull out negative 4, for this part I will say negative 4p divided by negative 4, I'll get positive p, which is that. Then for this part I will say positive 12 divided by negative 4, I'll come up with negative 3, which is that. Then continue with equal to 0, which is there. Now next we also realize that of these two terms, negative p minus 3 is common in both. So what we do, we first pull out p minus 3, which is this, and I'll remain with p, and here I'll remain with negative 4, which is this p and negative 4. So now I factorize, but it's equal to 0, meaning either p minus 4 equal to 0 or p minus 3 is equal to 0. Now for p minus 4 being equal to 0, it means that p will be equal to 4. And for p minus 3 being equal to 0, it means that p is equal to 3. So that's what they wanted, and now let's see how marks can be awarded. Now the first mark, M1, will be on this, whereby you replace this negative 7p with its factors. Then the second mark will be on this, whereby you factorize this part and factorize this part to get that second mark. And the third mark will be factorizing the entire equation, which is this, to come up with this. And lastly, this A1 will be getting the two values of P which they wanted. So now shall go to question 2. Question 2 says, find the length of 8 trousers in centimeters are 90, 115, 98, 103, 108, 105, 101, and 98. So the question says that find the part A model length and part B median length. So now we shall start with part A. Part A says that find the model length. First of all, model length is the same as mod, and mod is the number with the highest frequency or the number which appears most. Now let us see the frequency of these numbers. If you look at 90, 90 occurs only once, 115 occurs only once, but 98 occurs twice, and 103 occurs once, this occurs once, this occurs once, this occurs once. So it's only 98 which occurs twice. What does that mean? It means that now our model length will be 98, but you put the centimeter because it was given in the question. Then part B, they want the median length. So the median length, the first thing to do is to arrange all those values in ascending order. When you are in ascending order, we are interested in the middle value. So what we do, go on crossing on either side. So we have crossed once, then cross the second time this side and this side, cross the third time this side and this side. Now we shall realize that the middle value there is a pair. So there are two values. If I cross this and this, I'll remain with nothing. So what does that mean? It means that next you have to get the average of these two values. So when I say 101 plus 103 divide by 2, I'll come up with 102 centimeters. So that means that this 102 centimeters will be my median length. So always when you cross out and you remain with two values in the middle, you have to get their average. Now let's see how marking can be done. So the first mark is this one stating the model length, and the second mark will be this part of crossing out, and the third mark will be getting the average, then the lastly your final answer in centimeters. Note that word centimeters because the question we are given centimeters. So that's how the 4 marks can be got. So we shall now go to question 3. Question 3 says, given that tan theta is equal to negative 5 over 12 and theta is greater than or equal to 270 degrees but less than or equal to 360 degrees, determine the value of cos theta for marks. So now that theta is greater than 270 degrees but less than 360 degrees, it implies that theta is in the fourth quadrant. And what do you know about the fourth quadrant? In the fourth quadrant, it is only cos which is positive, meaning sine is negative and tan is negative in the fourth quadrant. So in the fourth quadrant, cos is positive but sine and tan are negative. That means that our answer must be positive. Next, we shall now draw our right angle triangle. Remember, tan is equal to opposite over adjacent. So if I look at this angle, it means that opposite will be this, which is 5. Adjacent will be that, which is 12. Now this will be our hypotenuse. Let's call it a letter H. And now that we know this, we have drawn this right angle triangle. Next is to use Pythagoras theory to come up with the value of H. Now Pythagoras theory, from Pythagoras theory, H will be equal to the square root of 5 squared plus 12 squared and to be equal to 13 when you simplify. So that means that our cos theta, remember cos is equal to adjacent over hypotenuse. So it will be equal to adjacent, which is 12, divided by hypotenuse, which is H, and our H is 13. Therefore cos theta will be equal to 12 over 13. But remember, it is positive because it is in the fourth quadrant. Okay, so now let's see how the marks can be awarded. So first of all, this one will be for drawing that right angled triangle, and this one is for you to use Pythagoras theory, and when you come up with 13 you get your third mark, which is B1. And this A1 is to state the expression for cos theta, but it has to be positive. Now we shall go to question 4. Question 4 says that factorize completely the following expressions. So part A, factorize this expression a plus 1 everything squared minus 3 in brackets a plus 1 and give it 2 marks. Then part B, 49 minus in brackets x minus 4 squared and they give it also 2 marks. So we shall start with part A. Now for part A, you should realize that something is common. A plus 1 is common in both terms. So what we do, we shall factorize out a plus 1. When we factorize out a plus 1 here and we shall pull it out, now in this box bracket we have to look for what to get put here. That means that in this term, when I say this term a plus 1 squared divided by what we have put outside, I'll remain with a plus 1 raised to power 1. Remember, same base, but you subtract the power, so 2 minus 1 will be power 1. So that's why I put here a plus 1 raised to power 1. Then for this term, if I say the whole of this divided by a plus 1, I remain with negative 3, which is that. Now after that, we shall open this inside this bracket inside the box bracket to come up. So a plus 1 minus 3, I remain with a minus 2. So in the end, I'll come up with a plus 1 in brackets multiplied by a minus 2 in brackets. So basically, that's how they factorize this expression. Now we shall go to part B. Part B, they want you to factorize this. What you realize is that 49 is equal to 7 squared. So when you replace 49 with 7 squared, you shall come up with this. And when you realize that this one is a difference of 2 squares. What does that mean? It means that one bracket will be the sum. It will be a 7 plus x minus 4, which is that, and the other bracket will be 7 minus x minus 4, which is this. But remember, this is a bracket, so don't remove this bracket yet. The bracket will now be removed at this step. When you remove the bracket, you shall realize that 7 plus x minus 4, I remain with 7 minus 4, I remain with 3, which is this, and x will be that. Then for this part, if I open this inner bracket, it will become 7 minus x but plus 4. Now 7 plus 4 will give me 11, and this one will give me negative x, which is that. So basically, that's how they factorize this given expression. Now let's see how marks can be awarded. So the first mark will be on this step, whereby you factorize out a plus 1. Then the second mark will be on this step, whereby you simplify. For this part, the first mark will be here, whereby you use the expression for difference of 2 squares, and the second mark will be on simplifying. Now we shall go to question 5. Question 5 says, a square of area 36 centimeters is transformed to an image using the matrix 3, 1, 2, 5. Determine the area of the image. What does that mean? It means that this one becomes our object, and now they want the area of the image. So this is the area of the object, they want the area of the image, and this is the transformation matrix. So what we know, the relationship is that determinant of this transformation matrix is equal to the area of the image over the area of the object. Now we know the matrix, so come here, these vertical lines, now realize that these are vertical lines and they are no longer curved brackets. Now these vertical lines denote determinant of this matrix. And what we have said, we shall let A to be the area of the image which is required, and the area of the object is 36, so come and put 36 here. Now determinant means major diagonal, this is 3 times 5 to give you 15, minus the minor diagonal, which is 2 times 1 to give you 2. And this side remains as it is. So when we simplify, 15 minus 2 will give you 13, which will be equal to a over 36. Now from there we shall cross multiply. When I cross multiply, I'll come up with a being equal to 13 times 36. And when I use the calculator, I'll come up with 468 centimeters squared. So basically this is the area of the image which was required. Now let's see how marking is done. So this first mark will be substituting in this formula that determinant is equal to area of image over area of object. Now the second mark will be for getting the determinant. Remember, determinant is equal to major diagonal minus minor diagonal products. Then the third mark will be on cross multiplying, and lastly the output when you use a calculator. So basically that's how the 4 marks come about. So I'm going to leave you with 5 more questions for you to try out and assess yourself. So those are the questions you'll try out, and the solutions to these questions will be found in the next video. So if you have not yet subscribed, please click that subscribe button below that video, and you can also share it to other friends so that they can also benefit as a family.